It all began with a plane crash. What was supposed to be a tropical getaway turned into a nightmare when Emma's flight plummeted into the sea. She remembered the chaos, flames, screams, and then the cold embrace of water pulling her under. Everything went black until she woke up on a beach, the taste of salt on her lips and sand clinging to her wet skin. Disoriented and shaken, Emma struggled to her feet, her head pounding. The ocean stretched endlessly before her, and behind her, a dense, untamed jungle loomed like a guardian of the island's secrets. There was no sign of the plane, no wreckage, no other survivors, except for one figure in the distance slowly making their way toward her. It was Liam, a man she recognized from the flight. His face was equally bruised and battered by the ordeal, but his eyes, calm and steady, held a glimmer of hope. "Are you okay?" he asked, his voice raspy from exhaustion. "I think so," Emma replied, her voice barely a whisper. Together they assessed their situation. The island was small, no more than a speck of land in the vast ocean, with no signs of civilization. Days passed without rescue, and it became clear that they were completely alone. At first, survival was their only goal. They scavenged what they could from the wreckage that washed ashore. Some food, a flare gun, and a few supplies. Liam, who had a background in outdoor survival, built a makeshift shelter from fallen palm leaves and driftwood, while Emma, resourceful and quick to learn, found fresh water and began gathering fruits from the island. It was hard. The nights were cold, the jungle was loud with unknown creatures, and every storm that rolled in threatened to tear apart what little they had built. Yet, in those early days of struggle, something else began to take root between them. Trust, companionship, and an unspoken bond that grew stronger with each passing day. At first, they were two strangers merely surviving, but as the weeks turned into months, they began to open up, sharing their lives and the dreams they had left behind. Emma spoke of her work as a photographer, her love of capturing moments that often went unnoticed. Liam revealed that he had been running from a broken engagement, unsure of who he was anymore. In the quiet moments when the sun dipped beneath the horizon and the sky turned shades of pink and gold, they found solace in each other's presence. They would sit by the fire, watching the flames dance in the night, listening to the waves gently lap against the shore. Liam would sometimes hum a tune, and Emma would close her eyes, losing herself in the peace that the island, despite its isolation, offered. One evening, after a particularly brutal storm had passed, Emma sat alone on the beach, her heart heavy with the thought of never returning to the world she once knew. Liam found her there, staring out at the endless sea, and sat beside her. "We are going to make it," he said quietly, his voice soft yet firm. "We just have to keep going." Emma looked at him, her eyes glistening with unshed tears. "What if we don't? What if this is it?" Liam turned to her, his expression gentle but serious. "Then maybe this is our chance to start over. Maybe this island, maybe it's our new beginning." It was the first time the idea crossed her mind, that perhaps being stranded wasn't the end, but a new chapter. And in that moment, something shifted between them. They were no longer just two people trying to survive. They were two souls who had found each other in the most unlikely of circumstances. As the months rolled on, their connection deepened. They built a more permanent shelter, planted a small garden, and even crafted tools to fish in the shallow waters. Their daily tasks became less about survival and more about building a life together. In the quiet mornings, they would wake to the sound of birds and the gentle rustle of palm trees. Liam would venture into the jungle to gather food, while Emma took up carving intricate designs into the wood they found, creating small tokens of their life on the island. She even began to craft a journal from large leaves and charcoal, documenting their days and the world they had created. Liam admired her creativity and resourcefulness, and Emma found comfort in his steady presence. They grew to depend on each other, not out of necessity, but out of love. What started as mutual reliance slowly blossomed into something more. It was a slow burn, their love. There was no rush, no need for grand declarations or hurried moments. They had all the time in the world, and that allowed their relationship to unfold naturally, like the tides that ebbed and flowed with the phases of the moon. One evening, as they lay on the beach under a blanket of stars, Emma turned to Liam, her voice barely a whisper. "Do you ever wonder if we'll be found?" Liam smiled softly, looking up at the sky. "I used to, but now I'm not so sure I want to be." Emma's heart swelled at his words. She reached for his hand, threading her fingers through his, and in that moment, she realized that the island had given her something she never expected, true love. Years passed, and still no rescue came, but by then they no longer longed for it. The island had become their home, a paradise they had created together. They knew every inch of it, the hidden springs, the secret caves, the best spots to watch the sunrise. Liam built a boat out of curiosity, not with the intention of leaving, but to explore the nearby islands. They often sailed out together, Emma's laughter echoing across the water as they discovered new places, only to return to their beloved island at the end of the day. Their love was simple and pure, built on shared experiences and a deep understanding of one another. The island, once a place of isolation, had become the ultimate testament to their bond. They had found something far more valuable than the life they had left behind. They had found each other. One night, many years after the crash, as they sat by the fire watching the stars, Liam turned to Emma. His once strong hands were now weathered from years on the island, but his eyes still sparkled with the same warmth she had come to love. "We built something beautiful here," he said quietly, his voice full of emotion. "Even if the world never finds us, we'll always have this." Emma smiled, her heart full. "I wouldn't change a thing," she whispered, resting her head on his shoulder. And as the fire crackled softly and the waves whispered against the shore, they sat together in their paradise, a love story written in the sand, forever etched in the heart of their island.